It's not looking good, Brev. It's not looking good. What's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well. Genuinely, I do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea news. Of course, through the difficult, turgid, turbulent times, there will always be daily Chelsea news videos here on Football Therapy, so I can offer you my wonderful Football Therapy community, the information on what's going on around Chelsea Football Club, and of course, Chelsea being a bit of a circus at the moment, there's a lot of stuff in the media to talk about, and I'm bringing that to you here today, offering you my opinion on it. Mudryk calling out or rising to Chelsea fan criticism, if you will, from a influencer slash personal shopper, it looks like. Belle Silva calling for the sack, and we know when the Belle Silva axe has swung, usually managers do get sacked afterwards. We'll talk about that a little bit, as well as going over Liam Twomey's article from The Athletic, of course reflecting on the loss of Chelsea 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 4 at Stamford Bridge. It's tough times, we gotta stick together, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for joining me. I want to thank everyone who sends me nice messages on Instagram DMs. It's a way we can support each other. I, of course, do a lot of live streams on Instagram. Do consider following me if you want to, at Football Yannick. And thank you to those who have subscribed to Football Therapy. We're closing in on 180,000, of course. Amazing milestone for me personally. You can help me achieve that if you subscribe. Only if you want to, but if you choose to, hit the bell, and as always, I thank you for liking the video. Alright then, let's get into it. I believe he's a celebrity shopper, this young guy called Fedor, who I think is about 20 years old, who seemingly has contacts with Chelsea or has been photographed with Chelsea players before. He has sent a Instagram DM to Mykhailo Mudryk. He writes, "What the F is going on with you? Did you forget how to play football? It's not good enough. Something needs to change. Maybe do one-on-one sessions. Every time you play, we have one player less." Off the bat, like, everyone's entitled to an opinion, but this is kind of mean, you know? Like, he's not like abusing him, swearing at him, saying any like abhorrent, gnarly stuff, but he's certainly criticising his work. I'm sure footballers get a lot worse in their DMs, and they absolutely do not need to respond. Now, like I said, this guy looks like he has some kind of links to Chelsea players, so maybe it's prioritised in the DM request to Mykhailo Mudryk, and he feels inclined to respond. Lest we forget, Mudryk himself is very young. He's 22 years old or whatever. I believe this influencer slash celebrity shopper is a similar age. Mudryk responds with, "Come play 1v1 for £10,000. Obviously rising to the bait and getting a little bit aggressive. This guy replies saying, "Bro, at this point I will personally give you money every time you score. We are all Chelsea fans here. I deal with the players and sort their stuff out, but come on man, you have Everton next." Mudryk just replies, "You good at football?" And then he just said, "Score for us, please." This guy screenshotted this chat with Mudryk and then overlaid this text. I don't regret texting him this anymore. Chelsea, we need answers. First of all, silly social media nonsense, and this achieves nothing. I do have sympathy for Mudryk, not least because of what's going on in his personal life and back in his home country, etc. I think it's important that's not forgotten, but also, this kid is just entering with something that resembles a circus, and it's run really, really poorly. I've maintained my position all along. I think Mudryk is a really, really high potential player with really potent raw materials as a footballer, but is very, very undercoached. I don't think it's constructive at all to come out and criticise players saying, "Just score a goal, what are you doing, we're playing with less players." But then again, everyone has their right to have an opinion, and that he's not swearing, he's not saying anything overly abusive. Not something that I would personally do, but then again, we are all different. It's nothing majorly aggressive, it's criticism, it's a little bit cold, saying we're playing with one guy less and I will personally pay you money to score a goal. It's a little bit funny, but most of all, it's a reflection of where Chelsea are at the moment. And yes, I pulled this from Instagram from the Secret Scout, but I am not just trying to push a negative agenda here. This has reached the tabloids, the major publications in football media, and because it's a big story, I wanted to reference it here and give you my opinion on it. I do have great sympathy for Mudryk. I often think you shouldn't be starting for Chelsea, but watching how Sterling played yesterday and then Mudryk looking better off the bench, I just don't know anymore. Perhaps different things need to change. I've never called for a manager to be sacked, but something needs to be revitalised and changed at Chelsea. And also, agreeing with that sentiment is Belle Silva. Yesterday, Belle Silva tweeted this: "It's time to change. If you wait any longer, it will be too late." Blue heart, blue heart. Thiago Silva's wife, of course, we know she's very, very passionate. She's probably watching her husband, Thiago, in what is almost certainly his final season in football, unless maybe if he goes back to Brazil. But, you know, she probably thinks, look, Chelsea are in a final. Chelsea are still in another competition that they could win, should they just flip their form around. Of course, that's the FA Cup. But we're going away to Aston Villa midweek. And the way they're playing and how our away form is, we need a miracle to do anything in that game. So I understand it. She goes to all the games. She's passionate. She loves Chelsea and she loves Thiago Silva. Personally, I think Thiago Silva has been playing worse and worse and worse. I love him, bro. I love Thiago Silva. I was expressed concerns when we originally bought him. I wanted Lewis Dunk, which, by the way, has actually not aged that badly. Slam Dunk is a great player. Should and is starting for England. Slightly younger, of course. But it wasn't a mistake to sign Thiago Silva. It was a great move. Largely excellent for us, Thiago Silva. And he cares. He's professional. He knows what it... I know this sounds lame, but he does know what it means to be Chelsea. As does Belle. His sons are also in the academy. It's a lovely story. It's a feel-good story. And he has sort of cemented his place as a Chelsea cult hero. But despite all of that, I personally think he's not playing very well. I do see the long-term partnership of Levi Colwill and Wesley Fofana. And maybe now the immobility of Thiago Silva isn't doing us any good. And to be honest, like many other players on the pitch, he's probably suffering from everyone else playing badly. It's like your boat's sinking, but there's loads of different holes, and it makes you go down quicker, and you don't know which one to plug, and it's all... yeah. Still, Belle Silva tweeted out something similar about Graham Potter, about a change needing, and I forget the tweet exactly, and he was fired a few days later. So maybe she is the leading authority on when to sack a Chelsea manager, and maybe the Chelsea owners are going, oh, well, Belle Silva has now tweeted, it's time. Of course, keep it locked here on Football Therapy, and any big news stories that develop with Chelsea, I'll react to as quick as possible. So, away from the social media drama of Mudryk and Belle Silva, let's have a little look at what Liam Twomey wrote about that disaster class yesterday. Of course, I did a complete breakdown reaction video after the full-time result. If you want my raw, organic reaction to the game, do go view my previous upload. But in the meantime, let's see what Mr. Liam Twomey is writing. Wildly inconsistent season lurched into a new low as Wolverhampton Wanderers came from behind to secure an emphatic first win at Stamford Bridge since the 70s. The boos rang out from the majority at halftime and the end of the match as the home supporters made their frustration with the thrashing clear. There was the fourth home defeat inflicted on Pochettino's side in the 23-24 Premier League, and as a result leaves them in mid-table below Wolves and 13 points off the top 5. It's not even the top 4, the top 5. Cole Palmer's smartly taken first half opener was as good as it got for the host, and of course Mateus Cunha's deflected equaliser. He ended up scoring a hat-trick. Pedro Neto caused us problems all afternoon, and Axel Disasi scored an own goal. Oh god. So of course Cunha did complete his first ever senior hat-trick, I think. After Malo Gusto's foul, conceding the penalty, Thiago Silva's reply was a mere consolation later on. To be honest, Liam Twomey in this article goes on to detail how Chelsea are fragile, poor in defence, and then goes on to attack. I'm going to do my best, and I'm actually going to spare you of these two segments, because I don't really want you guys to relive what was that horror show. It's an excellent article, and I'd urge you to go and read it, but I'm going to hop forward to a segment about the Chelsea manager, Mauricio Pochettino. Where does this leave the Poch project? Perhaps the most telling crowd moment came in the 70th minute, when the taunts of jubilant Wolves supporters were taken up with vicious enthusiasm by Chelsea supporters. We're effing sugar. I'm sure you can understand what I'm trying to say. Reverberated around the blue masses of Stamford Bridge, well, among those who had not already made their way to the exits. This was as toxic as the day the stadium had seen the tail end of Potter's era early last spring, particularly so in the second half, once it became clear that the loud halftime boos had not roused Chelsea into a response, and Wolves proceeded to run away with the game. Gallagher hit Cunha with a crunching challenge in front of the dugouts that sent the ball smacking high into the east stand, then got up and told the Wolves head coach Gary O'Neill exactly where he could go. Sterling was subbed on 72 minutes to a chorus of boos, a few rows behind the home bench. An angry fan demanded that Pochettino stand up and face the music. It was telling that even during Chelsea's resurgence at home, the level of trust for this team at Stamford Bridge never extended far. 8 goals shipped in the space of 2 matches appear to have eroded it entirely, leaving questions not only for the remainder of the Premier League campaign, but for Pochettino's future more broadly. Pochettino has never made much of an effort to build a personal rapport with Chelsea's match-going support, perhaps mindful of his deep association with his former employers Tottenham Hotspur. That means he never had much goodwill to lose when anger with the team's shortcomings began to build. Yeah, on that, I kind of get it. He probably, if he starts winning and feel like, he knows like this is Chelsea needs to win. He starts winning more games, he might go away to the away fans and be like, you know, we've done it, thank you for coming to see us. You know, slowly building his way into Chelsea hearts. He probably didn't want to, you know, after a few wins, go up to the Chelsea fans as the ex-Tottenham manager. Way, I'm Chelsea, let's go. He's probably being a little bit more, I don't know, lucid to the situation. Just quietly, do the work, and when we start winning things, let's get this bond going. I'm being sort of speculative there, but that would be the smart thing anyway. Potter was safe right up until he was not. Pochettino's future is up in the air, but it's clear that even those abusing him on Sunday believe Chelsea's problems go far beyond the head coach. Yeah, I remember I was at a mate's house for dinner and I'd like worked for the day on Football Therapy here, done a video, and I was like, yeah, done. And I saw the story that Potter's been sacked, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, they're not going to sack. Why have they done it? And I was going to run home and work, but I eventually did like a really delayed response video. But I just couldn't believe it. I was like, well, they're not going to sack him. It's pointless. And of course, we had the game against Real Madrid. But we've got the game against, I mean, he's not going to get sacked in the next couple of days, is he? But we've got the game against Aston Villa. I mean, maybe that was it quarter-final we had against Real Madrid? Maybe they'll look at that the same way as, of course, we've got a final against Liverpool. If things get bad, they'll feel like, well, there's something to save here. But then again, it's not like Lampard revitalised us and we went on to win anything. What did Pochettino say? He said this: when we scored, the game was there for us. But then we conceded the first goal. We started to feel nervous. We didn't manage well the stress. In the second half, we had some chances to make it 2-2, but then conceded a third. It was difficult for the players to deal with that and manage the situation. Yes. Disappointed. I apologise to the fans. Thank you to the fans who stayed supporting and helping the team to the end. I apologise and feel sorry. We are so disappointed. We need to change those feelings. When he was asked if he can still turn the situation around, Poch said this: of course, but we make too many mistakes. You cannot afford that in the Premier League, which is why it's difficult afterwards. Wolves were difficult to break down, and we were nervous making the wrong decisions. It's difficult for me to try and ask for time. Time is time. Yes, it's normal. Patience is not infinite, and we need to show more. The circumstances are difficult. We were good until Liverpool, but against Liverpool and Wolves, everything has gone wrong. We need to reset and prepare for the game against Aston Villa, but the disappointment is massive. I don't like Pochettino's response, but I sort of appreciate it more than what we heard of Graham Potter when things were going wrong, because he was very like shrugging his shoulders like, well, you know, we're going to try our best and get back on the training ground and, you know, whatever, you know, Pochettino was more akin to Tuchel when he was appointed. Like, this is Chelsea, no mucking about, we got to win, we're about winning. Potter was like, well, we'll give it a darn good go, you know, and like shrugged his shoulders and like, yeah, it's not working, don't know what's happening. And he was very sort of soft and bit soppy, do you know what I mean? So I like how he's being like boisterously apologetic, but it's not enough, is it? Of course it's, and, you know, I always reiterate, the Chelsea fans have been incredibly patient with the Chelsea ownership, the hierarchy, the managers, and it just can't go on, can it? It can't go on. I still can't see him being sacked this season. I don't know what it will achieve unless they have an idea that this guy can come in, play a certain way, and make Chelsea win a trophy, and then they reset the project in the summer. So you know. And I don't want to hear Jose Mourinho. I'm sorry. And what if Jose Mourinho comes in for 6 months and wins the League Cup? What do? Do you give him a contract and throw... look, The Football Ramble post is something, look, I'm not going to go into it. Follow me on Instagram if you want my full, detailed, unfiltered opinions on the Chelsea manager search at Football Yannick. But that's it for today. Thank you for joining me here on Chelsea News. Of course, I upload all the time here on Football Therapy, so thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking and commenting, and I'll hopefully see you back here very soon. Peace.